Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to Funky Inspiration. We're your host, Daniela, a place to find peculiar ways to look at life and be inspired by this life. I hope you will join me every Wednesday in finding new ways to have a better quality of life. Thank you for stopping by. Lots of love, my friends. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to Funky Inspiration with your host, Daniela. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about a person I really love and really have enjoyed her lessons. I have enjoyed her book and her TED Talk. So I won't make this episode super long, as she does have a TED Talk in English that you can go ahead and watch, and I will leave it in the notes for you. But I wanted to also make an episode in English, as I already made one in Spanish, and I think I can just come on here and let you know about her if you do not know who she is. And this person is Anita Moorjani. I read her book a while back. Actually, I heard her book because I had it in audio. And I love to listen to audiobooks because it's such an easy way to get information without having to physically sit down and read a book. And you can do it while you drive, while you're going somewhere, and it's a great way to pass the time while you're driving. I haven't actually listened to music while driving in a long time. I think most times now when I get into a car, I usually play a podcast or I will play an audiobook because I just love to keep on learning, and I find it for me is a lot more entertaining. And also, if you are like a person who likes to do sports, that's a great way to listen to books or to podcasts often, so you can get more knowledge and more self-improvement, which is what we talk about here all the time. So I hope that these lessons inspire you. Like I said, she has this TED Talk on YouTube, so you can go there and watch it, but I will just go over the basics here, and you can just, after that, if you want, go over to YouTube and watch it. One of the lessons also, before I even start to talk about Anita Moorjani, is this lesson that I learned from The Line, a podcast that I love by Ashley Wood. And she was talking about good decisions and bad decisions, and how sometimes we can think that there is such thing as good or bad decisions. But in general, there is not such thing. All decisions we make here in our life, in our human experience, they all lead us in the same path, in the same way. Because no matter what we choose, we often, will have the same outcomes. We will have new experiences, we will have happiness, we will have sadness, we will have new lessons, we will have love, we will have challenges, we will have joy, and in general, we will just have a human experience, a full-on human experience, which is what we are all doing while we're here in this planet. So no matter what you choose, just remember that there's no such thing as good or bad lessons. You will learn from all decisions you make in life. There's no such thing as bad or good lessons. They are all important for you and for your learning. And the reason I wanted to bring this up was because a few weeks ago, I read out the episode about following your intuition. And sometimes when we follow our intuition, we can think that we have made the wrong choice, the wrong decision, And I want you to know that that's not true, because whatever you chose at that time was exactly what you needed in that moment, perhaps what you needed in that moment to get to where you want to go in life. And just remember that nothing is in vain. Everything happens for a reason. I am a huge believer that everything in life happens for a reason, that there's a bigger meaning to things, And I hope that you can sense that just even from hearing this episode, and that I can maybe encourage you to think of it that way, because I feel that this is a beautiful way to see life, see that everything is there to give us something back. Everything is for us. Life is happening for us, not to us, So just remember that. And well, without further ado, let's get started with the lessons from Anita Moorjani's TED Talk. The first lesson that she mentions is that we need to start to focus more on love, especially self-love. I know self-love is one topic we have been talking about for ages now, over and over. You see it everywhere. You see self-love, self-care, love myself all over the internet. It's everywhere. But it's everywhere because it has its good lessons. And it's something that I want to say that it's not something you learn from one day to the next and then you're done. No. Self-love is something that you constantly have to keep at. You will have days where you won't feel self-love. You will have days where you feel completely in love with yourself, with your life, with everything. And you might wake up the next day and feel like complete S. You might feel like there's no value to anything, and that's okay. I want you to remember that everything is there for a reason. So including self-love, there's many ways you can learn to love yourself more every day. I think one great way to love yourself more is to start finding out who you really are. What are the things that matter to you? That's very important when learning to love yourself more. And one thing that Anita says is that when you love yourself more, you usually will never let anybody intimidate you, control you, or walk all over you. And vice versa. You will not do that to other people. You will not intimidate them. You will not walk all over them. And you will not try to control them. When you have self-love, you have enough care for yourself that you won't fall into those, let's say, bad decisions. Even though I just said, right, that there's not such thing as bad decisions. But again, let's remember that even if you made a bad decision, it is there to teach you a lesson. But eventually we do need to learn the lessons. And that's why sometimes we keep having the same lesson over and over again, because maybe there's a bigger meaning that we need to really understand that we haven't comprehend just yet. So just think of that. That's the first lesson. The second one is to live a life without fear. This one I think is huge, especially in our times. I think there are so many people living just on fear and a fear-based mentality. And I think, of course, it's not without doubt that we have this kind of lifestyle, because everything, the news, social media, all the things we consume on a day-to-day feed us fear. So I want you to start observing what you are taking in every day, what you're bringing into your life. Be aware of those things, be careful of those things. For example, I am somebody who I don't watch the news. And I know some of you might think that is a little bit ignorant, and it's not. In my opinion, I don't think it's ignorant, because I choose to not live in fear, in this fear-based mentality. And I feel when I watch the news, that is just what it's doing. It's feeding my fear. It is feeding an unrealistic view of the world. And I have traveled enough around the world to know that there's so much beauty, so much love, so much beautiful energy in this earth that we don't get to see in the news. And that's why I like to be very, very careful with what I watch, what I observe, what I consume. I haven't watched the news for probably 7 or more years. And of course, you might also think, how do I know when something terrible happens in the world? Well, I think there's no way to avoid it now. Like, it's literally in our faces. So the minute I log into Instagram, I will see a post that somebody made about whatever tragic catastrophe is going on in the world. But I also don't feel the need to be just feeding my brain over and over with those same news, because I always think that it's the same news replayed over and over again. So I don't want to encourage you to stop watching the news if that's what you love doing, but I just want you to be more aware of what you are consuming on a day-to-day basis. And I will also encourage you to at least try not watching the news for an entire week and just tell me how you feel. I just would like to know. Well, aside from that, the third one is that we need to focus more on laughter, on good humor, on our happiness, our joy in life. And this is huge because we often, forget to laugh, especially as we grow older. We forget to laugh, we forget to smile. And these are so important for us to have a good quality of life. Children laugh 300 times a day, while adults laugh less than 10 times per day. This is completely sad. And I think, children are great because we can really learn so many lessons from them. I think they are very, very smart because they are, like brand new. They haven't tapped into anything else that is going on in the world, and they just live in their own little world, and they see the world for what I believe it truly is. And we just get confused and conditioned to see otherwise because of what we usually consume, or the way we were raised, or the people we hang around with. This could all be affecting us, So I just want you to be reminded of that, like Anita says, to really focus on humor. I love that she even says that, even politics will be so much different if politicians had more humor, when they did their speeches and debates out in the world, and I think that's really funny and very true. And the fourth one is that she learned that her life, or everybody's life, is a gift. And I think this is very, very true. We often think that life is like a chore or something that we have to accomplish or do, and the biggest medicine to life is just living it, and I really love that because my grandpa, I asked him, what is the meaning of life one time? I asked him, and he told me the meaning of life is to just live. That's it. There's no more to it, and I love that simple answer he gave me because it is so true. There's no more to it than just live, have your day to day, live it, and try to take on beautiful moments, but just know that life is a mixture of things. Life is going to have ups and downs, good and bads. It's just all part of life. There's duality in this life that we live, so let's just focus on that and realize that is important to have this human experience. And to start seeing life as a gift, just think of those beautiful moments that you have already had in your life so far. For me, I think that feeling the sun in my skin, which I love the sunshine, and feeling it on my skin is literally like medicine to me. And floating at the beach or in a lake, when I'm floating, I literally feel so alive and so happy to be alive that for me, those two little simple things have already made life worth it here on earth. So just think back to anything that you have already lived through that has been valuable and beautiful in your life already. And if you are struggling with this one, perhaps you might need to see a professional, as somebody that might help you work through these emotions, to process these emotions that you're going through, because there's so much beauty to life, and sometimes we are unable to see that, but that might be because we might need more help, and that's okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask around, to be vulnerable, ask for the help you need. It is okay. You're not alone. There's so many people who also need help, and it is okay. You are only human, as they say, you are only human. So you are more than okay to have bad days, and need someone to maybe discuss that with, or have a good conversation about it. And that's important. It's very, very important to do that. And the fifth one is to be more authentic, to be more ourselves in everyday life, to not be someone else. And I think nowadays with social media, again, with all these things we see, we hear about, we can get carried away in trying to portray or be someone else, And I want you to realize that whatever we're seeing, whatever we are seeing out there in Facebook, Instagram, that's only a nanosecond of that person's life. It's not their entire life. You don't see It's very rare that somebody's gonna grab the camera and record or take a picture of themselves when they're going through the toughest time in their life. I know that now some people are starting to do that, but it's not that many that are doing that, So just remember, when you see this beautiful, vacation pictures, pictures of this happiness and joy, remember that it's just 1 nanosecond of that person's life. It's not their true reality of everything else that happens in their life. So just be aware of that and don't try to be someone else, Try to always be yourself. And to be yourself, you have to start finding out who you are. You have to start knowing yourself, knowing your likes and dislikes, trying new things. That's one way to really start learning who you are. I love to go and try different classes and different things about everything and anything, because they all teach me a lesson in who I am and what I like and what I don't like. So I think it's always important to push ourselves a little bit, to go outside of our comfort zone, as they say, and try something new, because all of these things are going to help us. I think in the beginning I forgot to mention that Anita Moorjani, she had an NDE, or a near-death experience, and this is why when she came back from that near-death experience, she had all these beautiful lessons that she came back with, because during her NDE she went somewhere else, let's say, and you can read more about it in her book. It is a beautiful, beautiful book called Dying to Be Me. I highly recommend it. Yes, I highly recommend that book to you. I think her journey, her life is inspirational. She had cancer, like really bad cancer, where she died pretty much. That's what happened. She died for a few seconds and came back to life, but during those seconds she witnessed many things that brought her all these knowledge and ideas about life. And whether you believe or not in NDEs or near-death experiences, that's not what I want you to take away from this. I want you to take these beautiful lessons that she has to share with us, or that she came back to share with us, and not focus on maybe how she got them or anything like that. Because I think if the message resonates with you, it doesn't matter how it came or where it came from. All that matters is that it resonates with you and that you like it and you feel like, yeah, I can add this to my life. This could be beneficial for me. So anyways, I hope that you really have enjoyed this podcast. I'm going to repeat all 5 things just so you have it, and I will put some of these ideas in the notes as well. And number 1 is to focus more on love, especially self-love. 2nd is to live your life without fear. 3rd is to focus more on laughter, having good sense of humor and joy. 4th is to learn that your life is a gift. 5th is to be more authentic, to be yourself always. Be yourself always. And I also wanted to add a little quote here before we go. And it's by the Bhagavad Gita, another book that I love, and maybe one day I will do a little analysis of, a little feedback on it, of what this book is about. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And it goes like this: it is better to live life. It's so hard because I have it in front of me in Spanish, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to translate it as I record this. It is better to live a life in your own life imperfectly than live someone else's life, someone else's imitation. Wow, I really screwed that translation here, guys. Okay, you're gonna have to give me 1 second. I'll be back. Okay, I am back, guys. Sorry about that. My goodness, you don't know the struggle of having multiple languages in your head, because I don't just have Spanish and English in my head. I speak more than that. So sometimes I get completely brain shuts down and I just forget how to speak in any languages. This literally happens to me sometimes, and it's just so funny every time it happens. So that's literally what just happened when I was trying to translate that quote for you guys. So here it is, the quote. It is better to live your life destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of someone else's life perfectly. Let me repeat that. It is better to live your life destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of someone else's life perfectly. I love it. I think it goes so well with this whole thing about living an authentic life and really being yourself and not, living someone else's life, because you are you and you are so valuable and you have so much to share and give to this world. So be you, be as rare as you are. Don't think that, you are the only one. I honestly love people who are a little bit more rare, a little bit more weird, more different than other people, because there's this sense of, like, I think coolness about them that I really love and admire, just because I think when people are themselves, we are even more attracted to them. So it's very important to focus on that, to be more our true self. And well, to finalize this, I just want to remind you, friends, that all the answers you look for, you seek, are always within you. So I hope with that you have one more beautiful podcast here. And thank you for listening. And I will see you in the next episode. Take care.